Hi, hello, Leroy Wiffleball Nation. I am Ian Garvalia, and you are listening to the Fireside Chat. It is a Leroy Wiffleball podcast with the hottest of unfiltered and uncensored takes. Boys, it is finally time. Over the next couple of months, Leroy will be going to absolute war. People all around the country and the world have been looking forward to this historic event for 10 years now. We're in the 10th year of Leroy. We're about to start the playoffs. This war that I'm talking about, obviously, is the Leroy playoffs, and it is exactly what me and my guests will be diving into today. And speaking of those guests, let me introduce them for you. We have just one returning guest this week. He's been catching a lot of flack throughout the season. One of the most hated men in the world, actually, for those that are in the knowing. He's a man who went from the highest of highs in his wiffle ball career last year while winning the whole damn thing to the lowest of lows this year. Some may say he might be dead, but I'll tell you what, he's not dead on this podcast because my first guest is Platty Daddy Marty Rosala. Marty, how are you and what are you drinking? I see you're walking around the house a little bit.
I'm doing good. I actually was walking to get my drink. I got a watermelon White Claw.
Oh, okay. For those that are hating against the White Claws, what is so wrong about drinking a White Claw? You know?
Actually, I don't really care for them too much. It's just what I have in my fridge, and I was drinking some throughout the day this afternoon, so didn't want to stop.
That's a fair play. My second guest, and just one of the guests today who will be making their first ever podcasting debut, is another Couts diehard. He has burst onto the scene this year and has become the backbone for the Mandalorians. My second guest is Alex Sanders. Alex, how are you and what are you drinking?
I'm doing good. Tired, sunburnt. Drinking some sparkling ice. Non-alcoholic because I gotta go back in the sun for like another 10 straight days, and yeah, gotta just stay clean. So,
are you working the fair?
I am working the fair. It's like 11-hour straight days for about 19 straight days. So we just gotta stay hydrated.
10 worst days of summer.
10 worst days of summer. Yeah,
I did that for 2 years, and I can confirm, not fun.
Night
crew. And last but definitely not least, he's not from Couts, but we have yet another player who's making his first ever appearance in the Fireside Chat. He's a Porkers Hall of Famer, a country traveling wiffle baller, and a current role player for the Stone Cold Bagels. My last guest is Derek Radek. Derek, how are you, and what are you drinking?
We're doing great. We got some Miller Lite. No free ads.
There we go. Hey, this is better. I like this podcast already rather than last week because we have 3 people drinking. Alex, you got the. We're good. You're fine. I understand. You got to stay hydrated. It's a hot week, not a great week. But before we get into some playoff action and start previewing this week, we got some advertisements to get to. First off, we got PNC Trucking Enterprises Incorporated, who strive to be the most professional and reliable full-service trucking company in southern Chicagoland and northwest Indiana. They have nearly 50 well-maintained power units and 100 trailers providing dump truck, flatbed, lowboy, and transfer services. That's not all. We also have Friedman and Associates who have been serving clients with a variety of legal needs since 1984. Whether it is personal injury, employment, family law, mediation, school law, utility law, criminal defense, or immigration law, their firm could bring experience and dedication to any legal problem. Here, we got some new guests. Alex, Derek, are you guys looking for a new home?
I actually am on the current search for a new home.
Oh, well, you could contact one of our co-hosts today, Papa Platty, because you could contact your local realtors, Deborah and Marty Rosala, a mother and son real estate team with Realty Executives Premier. They're providing families and individuals with their experience and family-oriented mindset for over 30 years. Whether it's finding your perfect home or informing you on what your house is worth in the current market, Marty does it all. So why wait any longer? Head on over to www.debsellsnwi.com or call or text 219-508-8025 to find the perfect home for you. Marty, I don't know if you heard. Oh.
Gets his ad read and just fails.
That's what he was here for.
Yeah, we'll see ya.
It's wraps.
Oh gosh. Yeah. See ya, Marty. For those that are just listening and audio only, don't even know if this video is going up. Marty did leave after Alex was begging for a home, and he actually chose Marty as his personal.
I'm back. Sorry.
Oh, there he is.
Freaking But my daughter came down. This freaking dog was ringing the bell to go out, and then my fat thumb hit the exit button. But I'm back.
So that does it for advertisements. We got some hot takes to get to, guys. Whoever wants to start off. Who's got the hottest take right now? I know it's a hot day, but go on ahead.
I got one if you guys don't have one yet.
Go for it, Marty.
All right. My hot take is that there will be 2 teams in the championship series that have full rosters of guys who have not won a championship.
Honestly, I feel pretty.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but can we like just run down and say which teams that's not going to be then? Because
that means there's not going to be a Detmar or a Youngman in the championship series.
That is correct.
And that means it also means that the Bagels will not be in the championship series. Sorry, Derek, because Schaff won last year.
Oh, see ya. Yeah, so that could leave
yourself then.
That could leave the Gregs, NWO, Porkers, Cream Pies. See ya, Pilates. You just voted your own team out, Marty.
It's really just.
Well, you say this for a hot take, so I gave you one.
Okay,
He's fair. Not wrong. He's not wrong.
That's a fair play. Alex or Derek, you guys got a hot take?
Mine might dip into our first week predictions, but I'm calling Lep sweep over the Liners this week.
Oh, see, I like that's what we're living for. Okay. Well, here's my real question about that team. Are they rolling out Greg Yearling? Are they going to force Greg Yearling to die with the Liners? That's the real question. I'm really interested to see.
Obviously, a lineup can change things, but I could see the vision of the Leps taking the sweep.
Ooh, I like that. Okay. Get them fired up. Actually, no, this podcast is all about hating on Rob. So, Rob.
I was going to say, Rob's already going to be fired up regardless. Yeah.
Alex, you got a hot take?
This is going to be rough because I was going to hate on Rob just a little bit with this hot take. So, this stems from actually John just getting a bunch of hate for some decisions, like just choices he made at the beginning of the season with like guys he picked up and then added and dropped. But I think the worst managerial move of the year was getting rid of Derek Radick, and that was my hot take before he was here. So this isn't just like a Radick train right here, but like I just think like getting rid of Radick when he was kind of moving into a time when he was just starting to get hot. Obviously you didn't want to play without him for the first couple of weeks of the postseason, but crazy things always happen, and now now you wouldn't have been playing without him for the first 2 weeks, and the trade didn't improve the roster, and you had Kevin Breaux, and I don't know, he just could have had a loaded lineup right now as the Leps, and I just think you got to stick to what you have as Rob there and say we're going to win one of those 2 first weeks without Radick. So that comes a little bit just from defending John, just because John took a lot of hate at the beginning of the year, but I think moving Redick on at the beginning of the season, or too close at the beginning of the season, was the worst move of the year. That's my hot take. Sorry,
I was gonna say I don't even think that's really a hot take because Derek, I didn't even realize you were on 3 different teams this year. Were you not?
No, just the 2.
Just the 2.
Subbed. So I subbed, played for the Leps, then got traded, was able to sub. But both subbing, I was with the Fireballs actually both times.
For the record, Derek was my number 1 pick, and then Rob took him. If Rob wouldn't have taken him, Derek would be applauded right now. He would not have gotten traded to drop. Just saying.
Oof. And then he gets dropped. Oh, that's tough. Okay.
I will say, I mean, it worked out. I would have played the playoffs either way. I am disappointed though. The rain out, I was not able to take Iron Man from you. I had the lead going in, and then the last week I rained out.
I am no longer Iron Man. No. I think I am fully backing Carter Vandergreen. This man deserves the Iron Man award. Also, Alex, did not know you were in that close of contention. But you're no match against Sig VG. That man's winning Iron Man.
I mean, it's probably going to come down to just who has a further run in the playoffs.
Exactly. It always does. It always does.
We'll see what we can do, but it's all good.
I think you could be an honorary Iron Man just for working this fair while the playoffs are going on.
I'm feeling good, actually. Like, I don't know. It's all good. I'm feeling all right.
All right. I'll do my hot take real quick. It's a nice and simple one, but I have the Platties murdering the Fireballs in the first round.
Let's go.
That's what I got cooking. Not a lot backed up on it, honestly. It's just when I see the Fireballs lineup, I see how is this team not crumbled yet. And I think under the big lights, especially if this is a night game, goes into a game 3, it could be brutal. It could be dead. Carter's playing at a $35 salary right now. There is a lot loaded onto that man's back. And with the amount of cigarettes that man's been putting down, his back's got to give out at some point. Those lungs cannot be good right now. They might be Baki compromised. So I'm looking to see. I'm very much looking forward to see what happens during this series.
Who is there? What is their lineup? I don't even know.
They have Matt Dykstra, Chandler Kimmel, Chris Newman, Carter Vandergreen, and Jake Boss on the bench. And that man will not be leaving his bench because he has a torn Achilles. I think. Yeah. So
ACL and meniscus, he said.
Oh my! How do you do ACL and meniscus?
He said Leroy got him bad last time he played. That's all he said
way.
to me.
Oh
holy fuck!
Not worth it.
I was gonna say, actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I was gonna bring this up. Actually, here I'm gonna air this out. I'm gonna start yelling at some clouds real quick. For all the owners, Marty, do you agree with me that the Kermit draft at the end of the year is the stupidest thing I've ever seen? If you have a fifth man riding your bench at all times and he's been working with your team, because that's what I do with my Kermits, why would he get taken away from you when people are too either scared or didn't have the money to pick him up throughout the regular season? And now when the postseason rolls around, I get it. It kind of helps the team balancing, so everyone has a fifth man they could play in. But now we have people that are with torn ACLs on people's fifth man.
Yeah, and you gotta play it out. Like for me, for example, I knew Tillema wasn't going to be here this week, so I had to find someone that would fit in that salary range, which is not very many people.
Mm-hmm.
And but like if I knew my 4 guys were going to be here, I would have taken somebody. Like let's say you didn't pick up Wes, I would have taken Wes just so that no one else could use him.
Right.
He wouldn't have played for me, but I would have
be in prison.
Exactly.
I would have just left him there.
Yeah.
I want somebody to clarify with me, Tim. I want you on the next podcast, and I want you to defend your point on why we did that draft, because I think it was pointless. I don't see a reason behind it.
I think his reasoning was, like, for example, last year, I forgot who it was. Like, Greg was already eliminated, and he had to go play for another. Like, one of the teams couldn't get their 4th to show up.
Mm.
He was out of town or whatever, and I think that's what he was going for. But just that pool of players that we had to pick from this year was
brutal.
Slim pickings, yeah.
Dead, yeah. Everybody was dead. So we'll get into the previews here. First off, we have the first seed Corn Bombers and the second seed Bagels. They have the first round bye, with the Bagels facing, I believe it is the winner of actually the Porkers and Sluggers. And
I think he had it posted. I think it reseeds each round.
Yeah.
Unless
That's what I thought too.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay,
so they get like the highest seed.
Or Bombers will play the worst team, and then we'd face the second worst team left, and so on.
Oh, okay, that makes sense, because that was going to be a question I posted up later. I think Gags actually asked it in the Facebook thing if anyone actually understood it. I guess we have some people that understand it.
Yeah, we're trying to turn this into basketball, if anyone's ever seen that, with the whole bracket everywhere, but I think that's what Tim was going for.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
So the seedings actually matter then, so I at least can respect that. All right, so we'll move into the actual first matchup. We have the 3rd seed Badgers versus the 14th seed Sliders. The Badgers, as of right now, they might have posted what their lineup's going to be. Actually, I think I know what it is. They have Jared Yonkman, Colin Babcock, Elijah Richardson, and their newly acquired Al Friedman making the lineup in the first time ever that he plays for the team. He's actually making the lineup. Did not think that was going to happen, but it helps when he got down to a $27 salary when I think he started the year like 41, I want to say. But they are facing the Sliders, who might be dead, but they have Jordan Moselle, Zach Heiss, Tyler Van Kyken, Justin Deckinga, and Jeremy Ross. Know for a fact that man did not post his lineup yet. I'm pretty sure this one's pretty straightforward. I'm going with the Badgers sweep here. Badgers in 2 here. Marty, what you got?
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. It's Badgers in 2. I don't think that this is going to be that close, to be honest with you, especially the weather that I'm seeing. The wind's supposed to be blowing out. So,
Correct. I did see that.
hello, Jared, taking off.
Well, actually, before you say that, I wouldn't say it could be too crazy because Heiss his bat's been electric as well.
Dude, Heiss has
Heiss
been
on fire.
unreal. I saw, and that's one of the questions in the question bag, so I won't get into it too much. But yeah, he's been unreal.
So they have a shot.
That's
Derek,
the sliders can hit.
correct. Derek, what you thinking here?
Yeah, was Al in the Kermit draft? Is that how he ended up getting on there?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I feel that's a good move by them. It's almost like Marty was talking. Like I feel like grabbing Al was almost blocking, but in this case, they got to use him, and yeah, I think that gives them a sweep. Definitely, when you're replacing Bo with him, that's a good replacement.
Alex, what you thinking?
I mean, obviously a little bit different of a look without Hofstra, but it probably isn't going to matter. So
The only thing I could see happening is a pitching blow up because I mean you have Jared, Colin, Al, and Elijah. Colin and Al are pretty much diehard, like arguably diehard slow pitch guys. They don't throw the ball hard. Not a lot's going to cut through the wind if it's blowing out. Jared hasn't been too great on the mound this year. He's been a little wild. He'll cut through the wind with his pitch, but I don't know. I could see him missing the zone a lot, but you could say the same about the sliders as well. Not a lot of pitching on that side either. So if there's going to be any game that scores about 40 per game, it's probably going to be this one, especially if the wind's blowing out. I hope they're not on one of the cornfield fields because we're going to be missing about half a bucket by the end of the day.
If the sliders hit the way they hit against us last week, it's going to be a series.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not be surprised if the sliders make it out of this tournament and get into that 8-team playoff.
I don't hate that. Honestly, that could have been
They can hit.
This is a contention for marquee matchup of the week, so I'm excited for this one. I believe they are playing Wednesday. The only team that is playing Thursday is the Liners and the Lefts, which we're going to talk about now. We have the Liners, Caleb rolling out. Honestly, have no idea who he's rolling out, but we have Caleb, Zach Christie, Dylan Pollock, Tim Wilcher, and Greg Geerling, who has traded sides from the Jared to Caleb. So interesting to see that dynamic. With the Leps now rolling out Kevin Vroe, Sam Stahl, Jake Osborne, Cameron Tim Time, and Rob Warren. Honestly, this is kind of always comes back to this when you see Caleb in the playoffs. It's kind of a him versus the world kind of situation with the matchups. I mean, you have Caleb on that team, and I mean, Zach Christie is also a stud, so that's some back support that he usually does not have when it comes to the playoffs, but he got him in a steal earlier in this year. I'm just going to be really basic. I'm going to go with the Liners sweep. Caleb in the playoffs is a different animal. What say you, Marty?
I'm going to say the Liners win in 3. I think the Leps get a game out of it, but I think the Liners take the series just because Caleb's too good. I don't think that Rob, without Sam especially, the team isn't going to be able to win a series against him.
Wait, Sam is out?
Yeah,
Sam's not
Leroy
playing this week.
Whipple posted something different than what you just said, just to throw that out there.
Yeah, Sam is not playing this week.
Uh-oh.
That hurts my hot take a little bit.
Yeah, that's scary actually.
But I mean, they could still make it out of this double elimination tournament because I think he'll be back next week.
Okay. Alex, what do you got?
I mean, yeah, just given with Sam being out and Dan being in for him, I don't know. It's, again, pretty basic, but I think the Liners don't really have too much of a problem. I mean, Greg hit a handful of home runs like 2 weeks, or was it last week or a couple weeks before when
2 weeks ago, yeah.
The wind was blowing out again, and, so I just think it still gets down to that slow pitch enough, and the backside of that Liners lineup hits better than the backside of the left side.
The only thing I could see like blowing up in the Liners' face is the pitching. Because for those that are not familiar with playoffs in Leroy, it is 6 innings this time, and the first 2 guys that pitch in a game have to pitch a second inning in that same game. So technically, your second guy is actually closing out the game. So first game, it would be Caleb. If they were to roll it out this way with their top 2 salaries playing first, it would be Zach Christie closing out the second game. And then you'd have to ask of one of the 3, I don't know who they're going to roll out between the 3, either Dylan, Tim, or Greg, to pitch 2 each. So I don't hate that take, Marty. I didn't even think about that with playing 3. But if it does go to 3, I think Caleb could handle the third game pretty handedly. Derek, what you got?
Yeah, I'm with my hot take. I was banking on playoff time. This is only my 3rd year in the league, but it seems come playoff time the pitchers lock in, and it doesn't get to slow pitch as much. So I feel like the batting lineups matched up. If the Leps can keep it out of slow pitch range, I think they can shut down that lineup outside of Caleb. And they got scrappy veterans that I think can get the runs when Caleb's off the mound, because I don't think they're shutdown guys behind Caleb. So,
yeah, and honestly, one thing too about the Leps I didn't really even think about is Rob even going to play? Because I do believe he is able to field his other 4 without him. So is Rob willing to brush away that ego for a week, or shoot?
Well, Rob is better than Crouton because Crouton's their 5th. So he would have to play Crouton, Sam, Tim, and Osborne in order for Rob not to play.
I have Cameron Tim as their 5th.
Yeah,
on my sheet.
Then how is he playing? Who's Dan?
The sheet has Cameron Tim on whatever Leroy Wiffle posted. There's a different picture with the lineups. Dan Crouton's on there with Rob. They're both on there. So the Leps on this one, it's Kevin Bro, Jake Osborne, Rob, and Crouton is what they have posted. So I don't know what you guys see in your chat or in your owners group, but that's what this is posted.
Wow. So basically that Kermit draft really didn't do anything because now you still have players playing for other teams.
And you still don't have Radic in your lineups. But
he did not draft Crouton in that Kermit draft?
He got Tim. Correct.
No, got Cameron Tim.
But he's not even playing Tim.
Correct.
He couldn't be there. I don't know. I mean, one of Sam's questions later on was, are any of the Leps actually going to be there? So.
Oh gosh.
So I take that back. He could, if he played a lineup of Rowe, Osborne, Tim, and Sam and left himself out. I'm not saying that Rob can't play, but I mean, he's definitely the 5th best in that team.
Correct. So yeah, that's interesting then. Okay. That wraps up that series. We have what I think could be an interesting series, but honestly, I don't know. We have the 5th seed NWO. They're rolling out Kyle Gagliardi, Brett Shuttle, Timmy the Porn Star Angel, and Mike the Uncle Baki. Facing off against the 12 seed Cream Pies, Mason-less Cream Pies. Mason will not be making the postseason in the first round, as usual, as he did last year, and murdered his team. So let's do it again. Why not? Mason said, I'll fucking do it again. Mason Capuch is out. We have Cole Deerdorf, maybe Owen Garvelia, Nate Owensby, and Tyler Walk. Mason. What are we doing, man?
I was disappointed to hear about Mason because I think this could have been an infamous 12-5 upset. Not without Mason though. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So. At least Mason, I think he got his 6 games in to make the playoffs. He made himself eligible. Yeah. This is an NWO sweep written all over it. Unless Cole just becomes a god on the mound and Owen is able to show up to the game and actually throw strikes, I don't see this going any other way. The NWO would have to blow up on the mound, which I don't think that's going to happen. I've called him consistent for a long time. NWO sweep here. Taking 2. Marty.
Yeah, I think this is the most lopsided win of the week. NWO sweeps, and it's not even close.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Derek, what you got?
Yep. NWO sweep. I feel like NWO is almost like the Platties last year in the whole team camaraderie, the whole year together. I feel they could be making some moves this playoffs.
I did hear Baki's on the trading block, though. He might be gone. Al, what do you got?
They picked up Brent Smith. I don't know anything about him. So.
Apparently, Tim called him a gimpy boy, so apparently he's hurt as well.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, it's a NWO sweep.
Yeah, there's no beating around the bush with this one. Cream Pies are going to have to pull off some miracle out of nowhere, out of thin air, which I don't think it's going to happen. Cole, you should have been treated better on that team. Not great. That wraps up that series. We have 3 more to get to. we have the 6-seed Fireballs rolling out with Matt Dykstra, Chandler Kimmel, Chris Newman, Carter Vandergreen. It's got to be those 4. Jake Boss is dead. Not good. Against the 11-seed Platties. You know what? I don't even know what your lineup's going to be. Marty, what are you rolling out with?
It's going to be BB, Boston, me, and Devin McCoy. Tillema will not be here this week.
Oh, that was surprising.
So, yeah, I know. I knew. He told me when I picked him up a few weeks back that he wouldn't be here this week. So I tried to plan for it.
Okay, that
I don't
makes
think.
sense.
I mean, obviously, I don't think Devin is as good as Tillema, but I don't think it's that far of a stretch between the two.
I think that's a fair statement.
Pitching wise, for sure. Tillema hit the crap out of the ball last week. I mean, he was friggin' roping it. But I don't know. I'm not going to give my take first, so you guys go.
Okay, Derek, let's start with you. Actually,
Yeah, I think I got Fireballs in 3 on this one. I think it'll be a good series. I don't think there's like shutdown pitching. Like there's no Caleb or Detmars in this matchup. It's a lot of evenly matched guys, and playing with the Fireballs this year, though, they know how to scrap out some wins. I remember we had the comeback against you guys, Ian. I think they ready to, if they need to make a big comeback against Smarty and them, they will.
I think it's a fair statement. Alex, what you got?
I think I've got the Platties in 3. I just think with the way the wind's going to be pushing tomorrow, I think Papa Platty and Boston and BB are better on the slow pitch than the first 3 Fireballs. I mean, they hit the ball hard against us last week, and I didn't feel like we were lobbing it in there way too much. And I think they're kind of coming off of a down series against the Sliders, it sounded like, but I just think when you get to that slow pitch, I think those first 3 for the Platties hit the ball pretty well. So I got the Platties in 3.
I think that's where I was heading towards. All around, the team isn't as bad as you think, Marty. I know you told us before we went live that you absolutely hate your team, which I understand that completely. But honestly, I think the sexiness of Devin McCoy will carry this team to victory. It's going to be coming in clutch in that third game, that third one-inning game there. I think the Fireballs are going to crack under the pressure. Carter's going to come back to reality, maybe. And I think they might choke it. I'm going to go with Platties in 3 as well. Marty, what you got?
With the wind blowing out, if the wind's blowing in, it's different because I've said this all year. The Platties are the slowest team in the history of wiffle ball. Boston and BB are the slowest humans you'll ever see. But I think that we win in 3 with the wind blowing out. We hit the ball pretty hard last week. We just hit the ball right at people. But yeah, I think we win the series in 3.
Marty, elevate and celebrate. Better win this one. Take it home. Get the upset. I would love to see it. That might be the only compliment I gave you this year. So take.
I don't understand all the hate this year, man.
You're a fraud. The second to last series, we have the 7-seed Gregs. The Gregs are rolling out their usual lineup. Sadly, not completely the same lineup they started with on the year. But they have Jackson Bazia, Owen and Sam Satowski, and David Dravitt. Peter Clark is on the bench, looking to hold the ring at the end of the year because he's still on the team. That man never left the team. I don't think he's physically able to play throughout the rest of the year, which is sad. I wish I could see Pete in the playoffs again. That could be wrong. He might make a surprise appearance. But they're rolling up against the 10-seed Mandos. Alex, do you know your lineup, and would you like to say it on air?
I believe it's who we've had about the last 3 series. John, Bork, myself, and Noah Keith.
Okay.
Is what I'm looking at anyways. I mean, that's what we've talked about it today, and that's who we got. So
I was gonna say I think Mikish is out. I think he played 1 series actually, or maybe 2 this year. But surprised he even showed up on the field after Eric drafted him, and I think in the 2nd round or something like that, even though he was there at the draft and said, I'm not gonna play. Bold move. Marty, do you want to go first on this one?
Yeah, I'll go first. I think the Mandos sweep this series. Mandos in 2. It's going to be a good series because I feel like both teams are very scrappy. You got the Satoskis who are always running everywhere and diving and sliding into bases and whatnot, but the Mandos are just as scrappy. Yeah, I just think the Mandos, top to bottom, are just better pitching and hitting. I think that they'll be able to get to Owen and Sam. And I don't who were the Greg's fourth? You said I forgot.
David Drabbit.
Yeah. The 2, 3, and 4 for the Gregs are going to be the big question marks. If the Manos got to hit them. If they don't, then it'll be a series, but they should. So I think the Manos sweep.
Correct. Alex, we'll save you for last. Derek, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm going to jump on the Mandos train as well. I think kind of going with Marty, who said, I think the Mandos have a fun lineup when we're talking about strategically making the lineups where you have 2 guys throwing each game, the extra innings. And I feel the Mandos can really pick and choose and have a better 2 guys going 2 innings than the Gregs can each game.
The Mandos are the most like the 2022 Pilates, just top to bottom balanced. No
There's
superstar.
like no 4 on that team. Like
There's
when you look at other teams,
Yeah, the way I think of it, like there's no big name. No offense, Alex. There's no like big name that jumps off the page is like this guy could carry the team, which is like you said, basically the Platies last year. I mean, it was just the team chemistry carried it all the way through. So I don't hate that take because I'm also riding with it. I'm going with Mandos in 2. What the Leroy playoffs really demonstrate is consistency throughout a team is better than one stud carrying the whole entire team, with some few exceptions. But what I'm seeing is Sam Satoski's playing at $22. David Drabbit's playing at $22, but Owen and Jackson are actually carrying. Owen's playing at $36 and Jackson's playing at $41, which is even down from last year, almost $7. So it's tough for the Gregs. Jackson, I respect the hell out of you for running this lineup week in, week out, but I think it's bad news. Might be hopefully not an early round exit, but it's gonna be a battle. Got the Mandos in 2. Al, what you got?
So I think as you start to look at these lineups, Jackson's, the best player on the field out of either of these teams. That's not really a question. I think after that, you can kind of throw Owen in there with John and Jeff and myself and kind of take your pick there. Noah Keefe is not a $23 player like he's sitting at right now. I will just say that.
He's the fastest man alive.
Noah's the fastest person at Leroy, and it's not close.
Literally the fastest man alive.
I don't think we're set up to be amazing with the wind blowing out. I think we're set up to maybe, just be a little better with the wind blowing in. I think that's maybe is kind of our strength there. So I think we win in 3, just because I've played with us all season and know that we do struggle to hit the ball farther than 10 feet every once in a while. We get into some rough patches sometimes. So I'm hoping that turns around here for this last month of the season or so. And but yeah, I feel good about where we're at. There's no weakness really on this team. We're pretty balanced, like you guys were saying. And yeah, I think we win in 3. Win in 3.
That's what it comes down to with these teams is like if you could formulate a team throughout the year that is as well balanced as possible, that's you being a good owner. I mean, unless you get somebody like a Zach Christie at $23 or whatever it was at that point. I mean, that's super hard to come by, and you have to get really lucky with it. But it's a team that's solid, not extremely good all throughout, which I think the Mandos have, and they have that team chemistry. Except for Tillamook, because you guys stabbed him in the back, but that's okay. It's another day's talk. Our last matchup of the week is the 8 seed, my own Porkers. Papa Porkers here to talk about them versus the 9 seed Sluggers. And we actually just faced off against them this past week and split with them. And I think we're rolling out basically the same. No, I'm pretty sure the same exact roster, except I have Vogus in instead. So I'm going to let you guys talk.
What's the Sluggers lineup?
Sluggers are rolling out Eric Detmar, Jason Lamott, Jake Martin, and Jake Van Buren, E in the Smokin' Jays.
This is tough. I think this is going to be the closest series of the week. Ian and you and I were talking before this. I mean, your lineup is so loaded.
It is.
It's so good. but man, the Sluggers are tough. Eric is always tough.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised. So here's what I'm gonna say. I think that you win this series in 3. Porkers in 3. It's gonna be close all 3 games, but the Sluggers still get out of this double elimination tournament. It's a tough first round matchup for you guys and them.
It is a tough matchup.
So actually, I do want to bring that up because I'm pretty sure if we beat the Sluggers, we have a chance of being matched up against the Corn Bombers in the next round. It's not good. It's not good. That's if we beat the Sluggers, though, which obviously that's our first we got to get through. Derek, go ahead.
I've got the Porker sweep. I feel like you and the Mandos are the 2 teams. Like, I don't look and see a number 4. Again, you guys are just stacked. If Wes and Vogus are at their best, I mean, you could argue 2 of the top 5 guys at their best. So, I mean, yeah, I think come playoff time, you guys will all bring it. And, yeah, it'll be a sweep.
Alex?
I think Porkers win this in 3. Kind of like Marty. I think it's so close. I think if Eric and Jason are on, man, that's such a tough 1-2 matchup between both teams if Eric and Jason are both on. I think Ian's in a better spot, just team wise, kind of being in that 3rd spot. Again, obviously you played 6 inning games, so you can't really hide there. And I'm not saying you hide, but you can't hide there in the playoffs. But I think whoever wins game 1 of this series wins the whole thing.
I was gonna say the same exact thing. The first game, it's all gonna come down to that because
I would assume Eric and Jason throw 1-2 and Wes and Vogus throw 1-2 there for game 1s. I would assume that if something different happens, it could change. But if that's what happens, it comes down to game 1 there.
So that's my plan as of right now is throwing Wes and Vogus. As it is written, I'm going to go with that 1 through 4. I'm putting all my cards down in that first round, in that first game. I'm just interested to know because Eric and Jason, I mean, they're $45 players.
Mm-hmm.
Solid or amazing pitchers when they're throwing hard, as Eric did last week, which I'm interested to see where his arm is at now because there's no way that man does any arm care at all. He probably just kind of wings it and sees where it goes. So I'm interested because he was humming last week. That's probably the hardest I've seen Eric throw in quite a long time. But then you got Jake Martin and Jake Van Buren. Jake Van Buren could kind of throw strikes, not super fast, but he's got some movement to it. I'm interested to see because I think we win the pitching duel. It's the hitting I'm really interested to see in. But with that being said, long-winded explanation, I'm going to go with the Porker sweep. Porkers in 2 because I think we win that first game, and I think we have the talent on the bottom to carry us the rest of the way. Porkers in 2. But actually, before we get into the question cooler, we do have a week notable. Baki's still on the trade block, so Baki, don't fuck up this week or you might be gone.
That's tough.
Thanks for coming. All right. It is that time. Let's open up the question cooler. Dip into some nice ice-cold questions and takes. Maybe Taylor Boyce is in the comment section, and I don't think he is. But Mason Capuch starts it off. Best water brand, go. Alex, let's start you off first.
Is he actually just talking about water, or
yes.
Am I okay?
No, just water.
I don't. If you're a person who complains about what kind of water you drink, I don't have time for that.
You're the worst. You're the worst kind of person.
Seriously, the amount, the things that people will put in their mouths, and you're gonna complain about the kind of water. You're gonna say one water tastes different than another water.
We're not gonna say Aquafina and Dasani.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
They do taste different, but
that's terrible.
Water's water. give me that couch tap water all day.
Well water and city water. Okay, you can taste the difference, but it's still water. Just drink it. I don't know.
Mason, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Whatever Coke's water is, I don't even know what it is. There you go, Bogus. Team morale up. I don't know what they make. But yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I don't know. Water. Matt Dykstra, we'll move on. Matt Dykstra, should Leroy bring back the All-Star game, skills competition, keg party, golf outing, all of it? How many times are we going to talk about it on this podcast? Yes.
A lot.
Yes, please. There are so many people. Actually, this comment, Matt Dykstra's comment, his question, this might be the most liked comment in Leroy Wiffle Ball on Facebook's history. It's got 7 or 6 likes. That's a lot. That's huge. Bring it back. Have some fun. Come on, Tim. Open up your yard for a Saturday night where we all come out, have some beers. What? Have a live reaction and live show on Fireside Nation. What?
Gax had the best idea. Have a live fireside chat around a fire
That's what
during
we
the
wanna
All-Star
do.
game. The last time we did it, it was the most fun ever. My wife had to drive out to Leroy and pick Sam Stahl and I up, so we couldn't drive home.
I love that.
It was awesome.
Need to bring it back.
We had walk-up music and everything.
I know, actually, one thing too. I know Carl Coffey is listening. My idol, my inspiration. Carl Coffey, hi, hello. If this does happen, whether it's this year or next year, the year after, Carl, I am expecting you to be here, be around the fire, having a few brewskis, and enjoying the fire. Maybe join in on the All-Star game. Maybe we'll have a celebrity game. Who knows? Carl Coffey, you're here. You better be here.
Yeah, I just think that we got dragged out for like those 2 long-ass Saturdays 2 years ago, last year, and it was miserable. If we're going to get dragged out, at least do it something fun. Like, yeah.
It's got to be something that doesn't matter because everyone's like
Right.
super.
No one cares on a Saturday. Everyone wants to just drink beer and yeah.
Right, exactly. And I'm telling you, if it does happen, there will be a live fireside chat around a fire. You know what? Even going corns, they're welcome. Greg, you're more than welcome. You know what? Fuck it. Taylor Boyce, you're welcome to join the fire, the live fire chat, side chat. I'm saying it. All right. Kyle Gagliardi, he asked the next question. I think on paper, the best playoff rosters are the Bombers and the Porkers. Would it be a bust of a season if neither made the championship game? I'm going to let you guys speak. Derek, let's start you off.
I mean, it's hard to say it's a bust if neither make it. The playoffs are so long, so deep. Everyone's pitching. I wouldn't say it's a bust. I mean, I guess the Porkers had all the hype, so I guess if they don't make it,
tell me about it.
Everyone's gonna let you hear about it. I feel like the Bombers came out of nowhere. You know, everyone. I feel like they didn't have a lot of hype going into the season. But now that they're playing well, it's hard to say, "Oh, you're a bust." You know, no one was giving them credit.
I will speak on the Bombers real quick. The reason they didn't get any credit is because they drafted people that probably weren't going to show up. Josh Trim retired last year. Ryan Gallagher was living in Detroit when he got drafted and had no idea he got drafted. So, I mean, to be fair, they all showed up, which is huge for them, and they're playing as well as they should be. It's a good roster.
Guys that no one thought would show up showed up.
Exactly. And they keep showing up. So that's why it's a big surprise for them. They did have the 1 week where no one showed up and it was just Brett, but they still got the split. Not fun. Marty, what you got?
I would think that if the Bombers don't make it, that would be a bust, just because they're the 1 seed. Porkers, I wouldn't call it a bust if you guys don't make it because you're only the 9 seed. But I think with the moves that you've made and the roster that you've created throughout the season, that it would be a disappointment if you didn't, because that roster should make it.
I would agree. Alex, I know you kind of jumped in on this comment thread. If you want to speak on your thoughts.
Yeah, and I can kind of explain that a little bit. I just think the Bombers have played up to that potential all season. They've been good all year when that force shows up. We just played against them the last series last week, and I mean, everyone knows those 4 guys. Garrett wasn't there, but those 4 guys they all see the fast pitch. They all do. Mm-hmm. So I think they've got all the pressure. I don't think the Porkers have the pressure. You've been playing with Wes, and for the most part, that lineup for last 3 or 4 series for the most part. Obviously, it's a good lineup, and it's kind of getting solidified here right at the end of the season. But I just don't think you have the pressure with it because you're sitting at, are you the 8 or 9 seed? And it's you haven't played your best football yet this season. So I don't think you guys have any of the pressure. I think all the pressure is on the Bombers for them to have what their record is through the regular season and then come into the postseason and not make a really deep run would seem like a bust for me.
I was going to say, I think one thing that not a lot of people comment on is that bye. I mean, Derek, you could probably speak on this. How do you feel about having that bye and kind of having that break Because I know you guys were on a roll. I mean, that last makeup game really shouldn't count as anything stemming your momentum. But that first week where you're just kind of sitting there and watching, how hard is that for you?
At 34, I kind of like it for my arm to get an extra week off. Obviously, it's tough. Thing I love about Leroy every week is to just keep the bats moving. So obviously that could be a concern, especially when you're getting the tough matchup against a 1-2 the first game out of the gate after being off. Just don't want to come out cold, but I think arms-wise, I'm enjoying the week off.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I forgot you're old. Wait, you're 34?
Yeah.
Jesus. Marty, how old are you?
I'll be 35 in October.
Oh, God, you guys are old. Alex,
Easy.
you're so fucking old. Jesus.
Oh.
I want to add to what Derek said. Historically, the last few years, the top seeds who get that bye that first week, whether it be in a double elimination tournament or the teams who don't play in the death bracket, the teams who play, there's always an upset. Like that 1 or 2 seed usually will lose that first round. This year it's a little bit more forgiving because you have to lose twice.
Mm-hmm.
But like last year, who didn't the death bracket team come out and beat the 1 seed? The 2 years ago when I was with you and the Porkers, Ian, we took out the 1 seed coming out of the death bracket.
Mm-hmm.
The year before that, I was with the Badgers coming out of the death bracket and beat the 1 seed, eliminated them. Having that bye week, that hurts sometimes because that momentum just stops.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say. I mean, I hate having buys. I would rather play every single week. That way you could find a rhythm, you could find everything. Because like wiffle ball, we only play once a week. And once you're locked in for that week, maybe you're like looking forward to at least how I am. I like to find rhythms. Can't find a rhythm with a bat, but that'll happen at some point. But like especially from the mound, if you find that arm slot and you can just keep like repeating that in your head, and then you go into the next week, you can keep going. But whenever you have that 1 week break, so then you have almost 2 weeks straight of just nothing. It's difficult to get back into that groove. So it's very interesting. I just wanted to point that out. It's very interesting because that Bombers team, I don't know.
I kind of have a hot take, but it's probably like a week premature. I think one of those 2 teams with a bye will lose that first series that they play in a week.
I sure hope so.
Because the way the reseeding works out, I mean, if the Porkers win, they're going to play one of those teams, and I'm just saying, I don't think either of those teams are looking forward to playing the Porkers with that lineup. So
the only way we do not play one of those top 2 teams if there are 2
worse
upsets.
Yeah.
Which is going to be rough because we went through it and those games aren't super competitive.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it goes the way we predicted, the Plouties will upset the Fireball, so that means that I'll be playing one of those teams.
Correct. You would be playing the Corn Bombers at that point.
Yeah.
We'd be playing the Bagels. All right, interesting. I think this week 2 is going to be really showing kind of like the positives of this new tournament style, which I'm excited to see. So looking forward to it. Speaking of the playoff format, Gags asked, does anyone actually comprehend the playoff format? Derek, if you'd like to explain it again.
Yeah, so it looks like it's going to reseed, right? Is that we're the consensus on that, right?
I believe so, because it's whoever's the winners are, those all get reseeded.
The week after that, I actually have no idea who's going to play who. It might just be a pick out of a hat. Let's see. Where are you? Okay, and then it's a complete reseed again. So I guess the only nice thing about us having a bye is like we just have to win 1 of 2 weeks, where everyone without a bye has got to win 2 out of 3. So that is the only nice thing. Say we do get matched up with you guys, unfortunately, and things don't go well, we do have a second shot at it, probably against a lesser team than you guys, if that were the case. So it is nice having that.
So basically, the upsets could really ruin this playoff format, is basically what it's breaking down to. If everything goes the way it should, like with higher seeds beating lower seeds and whatnot, the format could work out really well. But if you have a bunch of upsets, like decently bad teams beating really good teams, it could throw a wrench, especially into the double elimination. If you have a really good seed thrown into that double elimination bracket. which, I mean, that's really how all DE events go on. So
I think if there's a week one, like 2 week one upsets, yeah, it could set up for a top 4 team, top 3 team, not even making the final 8, because if the way it lines up, it could end up being a all-out brawl that 3rd week of the double limb.
Like I said, it's going to be really interesting. I'm excited to see how it pans out, and I hope we don't get just absolutely shafted by this seeding, but oh well. Wes Ellis, he asks, who's going to feed the pigs? That would be the Corn Bombers. Pigs eat corn. See you next week. John Lytle, rumor has it TVK is retired. Will the league be in shambles if this is true? I'm scared for my team because I know Vogus runs off TVK's energy. I was not able to get TVK back. He is now a slider. Really sad. Look forward to seeing that man every single week. But yes, the league will be in shambles, but that man will still always be a sex god. Thank you, TVK.
How many different teams did he play for this season?
He played for, oh gosh. I mean, he played for me.
4.
Yeah. 1, 2. Yeah, actually, he did. I think he got traded, I want to say. So, yeah, probably 4.
He may have played for every team in the last 2 years.
I think that's another one like the Leps could have held on to. Like, I don't know. They had some holes and got rid of them.
I mean, he had a rough spell for about 3 weeks straight on the hitting side. Pitching, he really never lost his own stride. But TVK has never been a credible pitcher. I mean, he'll throw strikes and make you hit the ball, which is always big for, arguably a 4 or a 3. But his hitting, he fell off a little bit, but he started to find it in the last 2 weeks. So that's kind of what was sad about having to let him go, is he really started finding everything. But TVK, man will always be a sex god.
And I think this year in particular, at least 4 of the first 5 weeks, if I remember, like the wind was howling in. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, myself included, like my hitting stats were shit. And then the wind started blowing and then you could hit again. So I feel a lot of people maybe gave up on guys because, they're batting 100, but it was really weather affected, I feel, at times.
I mean, that was like Tillema, too, with the Mandos. He was let go after I think he's hitting, he was playing at the $13 salary because he's a hitting-oriented guy. With that wind blowing in, though, all season as it did, it was brutal. Like, salaries dipped, but salaries from pitching rose.
Yeah, I didn't see the final, home run leader, what was the final total, but it had to be way less than last year, right?
It might have gotten into the low 20s.
It's at 16.
Yeah.
Caleb might have 16.
Yeah. It was brutal.
Yeah, the leader might have 20, where last year we were in I think
70, wasn't it?
60s and 70s.
I think Buzz had 63 last year, I want to say. That's
insane. Wow, my work is blocking the stats website. Man, we
Caleb's got 26, Jared's got 23, Zach Heiss has 20, Jackson has 16. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely a little slower. But also, the regular season, it was much shorter than last year, too. So people don't realize we're still only maybe a little over halfway throughout this whole entire season. This playoffs, it's going to take a long time. I know Marty's really happy about that.
I don't like it.
No.
Give us 2 extra weeks of the season and let's go in the playoffs.
Correct.
So just like when we should switch to 10 teams next year and then do
well, there's a poll going around. We're trying to get 30 full teams MLB style. We're going to have to travel across the country. So get ready to move. Be ready to pack your bags. Sam Stahl, we got not too many questions left. Sam Stahl, he kind of already said it again. Porkers have the team to beat, in my opinion. If they lose, it's most definitely a bust. No question. Just comment. Interesting. I think that was answering a question from earlier.
Yeah.
Wes Ellis, he says, all-star game / keg party at the golf outing. I'm pretty sure that's what happened the first time, and I believe someone was naked in their pond. Let's run it back. Let's do it again. Oh, boy. All right. Sam Stahl, will the Leps have 4 players to play on Wednesday? Again, we touched base on that as well. Sam, if you're one of them that are not there, you have 4 others to rely on, and I'm pretty sure 2 others said no. So you might have 2 that day. Kyle Gagliardi, rock, paper, or scissors. You know what? Fuck it. We're going to do this real quick. Marty, me and you. Rock, paper, scissors. Ready? On shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Fucking hell. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Fucking rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Dude. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Yeah, come on, get fucked. All right.
Are we really doing this right now?
Yeah, we're doing a tournament now. Alex and Derek go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh.
Alex, me and you.
All right. Call it.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was distracted by you standing up, and I
Looking
forgot
down
what we
at
were doing. Yeah. Go again.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Yeah! Fucking rigged. I don't care.
For the people that aren't seeing video, yeah.
I just rolled. Love that momentum. All right. Kyle Gagliardi, I don't think there's enough talk about Heiss's year at the plate. Agreed. Would you consider him a top 10, maybe even top 5 hitter in the league? I actually don't hate that take. Definitely top 10. Top 5?
I would definitely say top 10. I don't know about top 5, but top 10, yes.
I mean, yeah, it all really relies on with the win, so you can't really break it down top 5, top 10. I mean, Heiss, the man can hit. That's what he's still in the league for. He hates pitching, but he keeps coming back and driving hours upon hours just to hit, and the man can do it. There's not a lot of better hitters. I mean, the guy could demolish slow pitch. He could hunt fast pitch. So definitely top 10. Heiss, you've been a maniac. Hopefully next year you could keep it going if you come back. And the pitching too. If the man cared about pitching, he could be a really good player. He really can.
I was gonna say that's probably all that's keeping him from having like a good team to be with all year. Is just
he really he just doesn't really care about pitching, which is a bold move, but I respect it.
He's got a lot of movement on his pitch. I mean, he throws the same pitch over and over and over, but yeah, that's why he's never really stuck on a team, is just because he just lobs it in there.
Right. Kyle Gagliardi, this is our last question. Is Al the biggest slut in Leroy? Gets passed around more than anybody. I mean, the people are asking.
I think he's top 2.
Actually, I wonder who got traded.
TVK.
TVK.
Oh, that's true.
Playing on too many teams this year was ridiculous. That's unreal. But
I was gonna say, I'm trying to roll through the lineups right now. The only other names that are popping up, like I feel like teams really stuck to their guys a lot this season. Maybe Greg. You could just call Greg a slut because he jumped from Yonkman to Yonkman and happily did. Because I heard he hates Jared. I don't know. That's what I heard. But other than that, actually, Caleb Frazier might be one of them too, because I think he played on 3 different teams now at this point.
Well, he didn't play on 3 different teams. He
was on them.
On 3 different rosters. He hasn't played since he played with me, which I feel bad because he told me he was going to play. I told Eric, yeah, get him, and he did. Then he never showed up.
Is Caleb? Wait, so is Caleb done then?
I have not talked to him since the last time he played with me. He won't respond to texts.
Okay, we'll see you. Thank you. All right. But that does it for a question cooler. Do you guys have anything to add before we close out the show?
I just want to know what all the hate is for me this year, man.
All right, we'll end the episode there. Alex
Why?
and Derek, thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for showing up. I'm glad I was able to pop your podcast cherry on the Fireside Chat. You guys are more than welcome always. Next week, Marty, I'm not going to say goodbye to you if that's what you're waiting for.
That's okay. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, but next week, hoping for a big show as well on the Fireside Chat. Got something cooking in the back burners. So just wanted to say real quick, these playoffs, remember, we're all friends. Things are going to get competitive. If there is yelling, it'll all brush over. And if you actually hate somebody, come on the Fireside Chat. Come talk shit. That's what we do here. But thank you guys for joining us. This has been the Fireside Chat. We'll see ya.